Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Today I am playing along with Erika at California Lucky's 31 Days of Spooky Scraps. And I have combined that with a sketch from Christy's Beautiful Life and day 20. And the sketch we are using is this sketch here, and it is from Page Maps. And so my topic was Splatter. And so I'm going to use a little mixed media on this particular layout, but I'm going to start by roughing up the edges of my photo. And I know that seems kind of weird since, it is a photo and you don't want to ruin your photos, but it is a digital photo that was printed. And so I don't have any problem with that because I still have more copies of it I could print out digitally. And I felt like the roughed up edges went really well with the topic of my layout today, which is zombie outbreak. So I started by going on to Google and I Googled images of zombie outbreak in a silhouette, not meaning silhouette as in the machine, but a black and white image. And so I found this particular one. It looks like a biohazard sign and then it says zombie outbreak, and I imported that into my Silhouette software, created a cut file out of it, and that is what I am using today for my title area and part of my embellishment. I have these photos. The one on the right is my son, and the one on the left is one of his friends doing his makeup for Halloween for a haunted house that we hosted for several years in a row in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is really big into Halloween. We end up usually with about 1,000 people, and so for several years we hosted this haunted house. We don't do it anymore since the kids have gotten older, but for many years it was kind of like a month-long thing that we would prep for, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm using this blue tape to tape down where this circle is going to be, and this particular circle is not going on the layout. I want the letters, and I want the other circles that are going to be on either side of this particular circle, and they're those really thin round pieces that are up in the upper left hand corner. That's what I'm using, but I'm using this particular circle as a guide. I am going to mask off where I want my blood to drip, basically. And yes, you heard that right, blood. I'm using red dilutions spray, and it is going to look like blood, and you hear that all the time, that you shouldn't like splatter red all over your layout because it does look like blood, and in this case that's exactly what I want. And I just used that other piece of paper to kind of mask off the area up above because I didn't want a lot of overspray up in that area. And then I'm using some water to encourage the flow of the blood, or the ink that's not actually blood. So is really the perfect time for this red dilutions. And I love how bold it is. I do end up with a little bit of overspray and a little smudge there in the upper area, but it kind of wipes off pretty easily because this is a paper that I had gessoed, and so that is what is allowing that ink to really run well. And now I'm going to go ahead and splatter because that was the topic of my prompt for Erika's Spooky Scraps challenge, and I really like how it came out. And you can definitely see that there's some overspray in that upper area, even though I had it masked off, but that's okay. I'll take care of it as we go, and I'm going to add a little bit more splatter into that area just so that it looks like it's kind of supposed to be there. But I wanted the definite line of the red to look like it was dripping out of the die cut here that I am adhering to the layout. I didn't want it like behind it. I wanted it to look like it was dripping from that area. And those little lines are super delicate, and my circles are not going to be exactly perfectly lined up there. You can see it's a little wider at the bottom than, or the bottom right than it is up at the other areas, but that's okay. As I add things to the layout, it's not going to be noticeable nearly as much because there's going to be a photo right up against that area. Then I pulled some of this paper. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have distressed the edge of this paper before I cut it. It would have been a whole lot easier, but I didn't, and I didn't want to waste paper by throwing it away and just starting over. So yeah, I I ended up with this like 3/4 inch piece of paper that I'm distressing the edge of. It was kind of a pain, but it worked out, and it added a nice little border to the edge there. And I thought I might try and add some red twine or fiber there, but I didn't like how that looked, and so I quickly abandoned that idea. I am going to end up using the other pieces of the die cut to fit in the pieces that I want to keep. I'm going to use it kind of as a stencil to kind of like line up where all the pieces should be. I'm going to distress the edges of this white piece, and I want to distress these quite a bit because I didn't really take any edging off of them. I didn't cut it down at all really, so I want to use the distressing tool here to kind of roll back the edges so that you can see the black paper all the way around. And it doesn't need to be exact. I don't want it like straight. I want it kind of like wrinkled up. It's supposed to look that way. It's supposed to look like maybe this has been through a zombie apocalypse as well. And I do like how it ends up looking. It does make quite a bit of mess because that paper is super fibrous. I think it's an American Crafts white paper, and when you use it with that distress tool, it just creates a mess all over the place. But I do like how it looks, so it works out. Be sure to go check out Erika's channel, as she has a video every day this month for this particular series with a different topic for each day, and I will be playing along again on the 24th, I believe, so you can come back to my channel on that day and see what we've got in store. But she has different people playing along with her every day, so be sure to go and check out all of that. She's got links on her channel for each day. I have the links for today down below in my description box, and you can find it easily that way. I hope you enjoy this series. It was really a lot of fun playing along with Erika today, so yeah, definitely go check it out. So again, I'm using that piece that is not going to end up on the layout as a template, basically, to make sure I get this biohazard kind of thing lined up. And I like how it looks. It's working out really well. I am going to end up having to put all of the letters in, and I did cut them out. I have a really tiny die set for some alphas. You can see them at the top of the screen there. I did cut them out with my sidekick, and I am just going to kind of line it up because I added the year to it. Originally this cut file did not have a year associated with it, but I wanted to add the year because, like I said, we've done this haunted house several years in a row, and it kind of all runs together because they all look kind of spooky and kind of creepy, and it's really hard to tell one year from the next. But we had different people on each day. What I'm doing here off screen you can't really see, but I am just having a little bit more of that dripping come out from underneath the photograph on that spider paper. It looked like it was missing some dripping in that area, so that's what I did. And the edges of that paper are also distressed, so I kind of made sure everything was distressed up to kind of create continuity. And then I didn't really like the harsh edge that was showing over on this right hand side, so I just dipped my finger into the paint or the ink there, and I just kind of smushed it up onto the layout to kind of get rid of that harsh line. I'm adding more splatter because, you know, you can never have enough blood splatter on a Halloween layout, especially when there's zombies involved. Then I'm going to go through my box of black embellishments and see if there's anything that I think is going to be really good for this particular layout. And there's not as much stuff in here as I thought there might be. I do pull out a couple of little stickers. Of course, there's the October sticker, which is perfect for this layout because, you know, Halloween. And then I pull out one that is just a black piece that says the best of times in gold, and I thought that was kind of fitting because the kids really had a great time doing this. It was a big highlight for several years in a row, and all of their friends would come over and they would participate in the in the scaring of people. And like I said, our neighborhood's really big. We end up big into Halloween. We end up with like 1,000 kids on our street. Actually, it's not just kids. You get adults too. There's people handing out hot dogs and hot cocoa. And I am really curious to see what happens this year with COVID. I am sure that we are still going to end up with a lot of people. We aren't doing a haunted house. I don't even know that we're handing out candy. We haven't done that the last couple of years because my grandson was born on Halloween, and so we were busy with that. And so I'm not really sure what it's going to look like, but I'm sure we will still have people here because, you know, I don't think 1,000 people are going to get the message that Halloween's off, but we might have less people. So, you know, it's still, by most neighborhood standards, it would probably be a lot. I'm just adding this little tab. That little tab is going to be a spot that I can add a little bit of journaling. I will also have some journaling spots down below the photos. And my journaling just talks about it's being a zombie apocalypse, and we'll probably have over 800 people. This was, I think, the second, maybe the third year that we did it. And so by the time we were done, we had more than 1,000 people, but I think we had probably like eight or 900 probably on this particular year. We actually had news cameras come through and everything. It was really a lot of fun and interesting. So I'm talking about that. I'm talking about how his friend is doing his makeup. So basically just little notes about what happened that particular year. Now I'm using these stamps from Stamp Market. These are just journaling spots, and I really like these stamps because you can use them in any color you want, and they're super easy to cut. I do have the dies for it, but it's almost more trouble to pull the dies out than it is to just cut, you know, a few straight lines on each side and tuck them under the photo. And that provides the remaining journaling spots for this particular layout. And I stamped them in Rockin' Red and black ink. And the ink is from, the Rockin' Red was from Catherine Pooler. I'm not sure if, I didn't even see what black ink I used. I don't know if I pulled out the Catherine Pooler ink or if I just used my black archival ink. More than likely it was black archival because it's sitting on my desk right next to me almost all the time. You can see there on the left-hand side that I have some black little X stickers, and I'm going to use those along with this Puffy Alpha, and they are both high gloss or super shiny, as you will, stickers, so they work perfectly together. And this alphabet kind of has a, I don't know, kind of a choppy edge to the letters, so I thought it was perfect for Halloween. And my title is going to say Live Haunted House because all of the people inside were alive. And versus having like a haunted house where you go through and it's just like creepy scenes set up. We actually had all of their friends inside, and they would be in there ready to scare the pants off of you. And we actually did have several people that would leave crying or screaming, and they did a really fantastic job. They had some special effects going on, as well as having, you know, live characters. And the live sticker is a sticker that it's not from the alphabet there. It was just a sticker that was in my box, but it is also that glossy, shiny, puffy sticker, so it works out really well. And I like the little X's because they kind of look like stitch marks, which kind of like makes me feel like things are kind of held together by stitches. Or, you know, when you think of Frankenstein, not that we had Frankenstein or anything like that, but it's kind of like, you know, that monster that is all held together by stitches. I don't know. That was kind of like what I was going with. Otherwise, I have a kind of a hard time using those little X marks. Thankfully, I don't have a ton of them in my stash, but I thought this was the perfect place to use them. I am just making sure they are stuck on and going to stay on by adding a little bit of that Nuvo Deluxe adhesive glue, which is perfect for all of my paper crafting needs because it dries matte and clear, And once it's dry, a lot of times if it's kind of like squished out the edge of something, you can go with your adhesive eraser and it will come up. Now, definitely if you put it over mixed media and try and erase it, it will probably pull up the mixed media as well, but in general, it does kind of pull up just the actual glue and not the paper. Now, I am kind of softening up that line again, and I realize that it's not like level going across, so I kind of bring it up a little bit more onto the left hand side. I'm adding a little bit more splatter dots by just touching the end of the tube to the paper, making sure it's got plenty of splatter up in those areas. And I like how that looks better. And if you know me, you know I don't like my fingers dirty, so there I'm just making sure that my fingers are all wiped up. We are almost to the end of the layout, but I am going to go around the actual edge of it, and I'm going to create a I'm just going to doodle a line all the way around the edge. I do 2 lines in red and 1 line in black, and I did that just kind of to give more added interest. I probably could have stitched around it, except for I had that distressed edge and I didn't really want to run that through my sewing machine, so I ended up using just my Muji pens to go ahead and create that little line and border around the edge. And I really like how it looks. It brings everything together. Those little spiders on that spider paper have a little bit of red on them, and so it worked out perfectly just to kind of use my pens and finish things off. Here are the close-ups. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Be sure to check out Erika's video, and you know, leave any comments or questions that you might have below. I will get back to you. It does take me a little bit of time sometimes, but I do enjoy reading them, and I do respond as quickly as I can. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I've really enjoyed having you here. I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.